Hello, everybody. How are you today? I'm happy to be going live on Facebook. I'm happy to be sharing the space with a new good friend of mine that we've recently connected and found that we are brothers from a different mother. And the law of attraction is what connected us. We made connections because we have a very, very similar mindset. And I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to be amazed by Mr. Chad Nedland today. I'm asking that if you're connecting with us live today, you're welcome to make comments, ask questions, figure out what it is that Chad's expertise is or how he can help you. I'm providing this opportunity for everybody to be made better by Chad. And of course, that's why I do these things. It's not for me, it's for the person that I'm interviewing. And I'm very, very thankful that you're here. And I'm going to be asking Chad some good questions today. And of course, if you haven't met me, I'm Dean Brown, powerful dad, holistic life coach, online marketer. I'm a brother to those that know me and a friend to those that don't. And I help dads become better dads, start or build a business, and get to that 6 or 7 figure level, because that's where we should all be. And so when we get into the content, by all means, ask a question or two. If you're doing the replay, give us a replay notification. Let us know where you're from, either way, live or a replay. And here we go, everybody. So, Chad, welcome. How are you today?
Hey, I am doing absolutely fabulous this morning. I got just a couple of minutes of sleep last night, and it's been a good night. It's been a great morning this morning. Had an opportunity to reach out and touch a life across the globe. So that's always a good start for a beautiful day.
Beautiful. Yeah, I heard you were talking to somebody in India today. That's this global reach thing that we have going on these days is something amazing, isn't it?
Oh yeah, the level of connection that we can have today absolutely blows my mind. I think back, I don't want to date myself, but let's just say over 2 decades ago when I was in high school, and we were excited when we got to make a phone call and talk to our friend across town. Right. And now I wake up in the morning and I get messages from literally all over the world with people just wanting to connect and ask questions and have a relationship, and it's completely blown us out of the water with, in a world that seems so disconnected right now. There is never a greater opportunity to connect on a deep level.
Yep.
Even through technology.
Absolutely.
I mean,
absolutely.
We ourselves, we emit signal ourselves, and yet we can be carried through the airwaves and be able to have a face-to-face conversation, whether it be from me to India or me to talking from the US to Canada.
Yep.
It's amazing the connection we can feel.
It is. And that's something we should all embrace and work on. So, Chad, my friend, what is, I'm going to get you to explain to our audience your area of expertise, your story about that happened to inspire you to start what you do now. Go ahead, brother. Tell us about it.
Well, I'm lazy. I believe that all advancement is birthed in a point of laziness. We are driven to do things easier, faster, quicker. We're in that position of growth. We never want to continue to do something the hardest way. But oftentimes we find ourselves stuck in that cycle of doing it the hardest way because it's the most familiar. And we're scared of change. We're scared of change because it's unknown. And rather than embrace that, oftentimes we get stuck in a cycle or a loop of difficulty, never being able to grow or move past where we are. I was raised that you work hard, and you work hard, 16 to 18 hours a day, and you bust your butt. You keep going. Everything is just push, push, push. You don't waste any time. It's always work. And at the end of the day, if you're lucky, you get fed a full meal. You just get by. You make it. And that's what it takes to survive in this world today. And that's what I was taught.
Yep.
And so I did. I learned to work very, very hard. I had an extremely strong, hard work ethic. When I said I was going to do something, it was done. Period. There was no option. When things got hard, you snapped to, you stood up, you made it happen. And I began to see things that really started troubling me. I saw other people who I thought were lazy. All they ever did was go around and enjoy life. They were always either partying or going skiing or, spending time at the beach. And I went,
how dare they?
well, it wasn't even how dare they. It was how can they?
Yeah, fair enough.
How can you possibly survive if you're not working 18 hours a day?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm killing myself here. I'm a hard worker. I get paid good for what I do. And I was getting paid really good, but I couldn't afford to do those things because then I wouldn't get the paid, and it was this endless cycle. And I says, you know what? There's got to be a different way. And at every point in our life, when we hit that question is we're faced with something that we can either reach out to or we can stay where we are. We're forced into a position of making a decision.
Yep.
And I made it that decision. I said, there's got to be a faster, more effective way to do this. Now, the crazy thing is I was 17 years old when I hit that point.
Wow, that's young.
And I went into the military. And I was amazed that at the time, I don't know if I'd really stand on this statement now, but at the time, we had the most powerful military force in the world. We were second to none. The world was scared of the US military. And I laughed when I found out. I went into basic training and I realized that every single job that we had, all the manuals, everything was written out at a 6th grade education level. And I'm like, what? And they're like, you don't need all that extra. You need to know the basics to understand, comprehend, and to be effective. And I found out that it wasn't all of the advanced stuff that made us effective. It was effectively applying the basics.
Right.
And I was like, okay, this kind of makes sense. And it started to train my mind to think a different way. And I said, well, there's got to be an effective way to do this. Not just effective, but efficient as well.
Yep.
Because oftentimes we're stuck doing the effective, but it's not efficient. And so what I did is over the next 20 years or so, I continued to study in personal development. I studied productivity, effectiveness. And right now I focus, one of the main areas that I focus is effectiveness training. I help people to efficiently and effectively accomplish their goals in less time without the overwhelm that we normally feel in life. Yes. And when we do this, not only can we achieve more, but we get to enjoy more of what we achieve.
That's right.
Because there's a lot of people that have yachts and expensive cars and nice homes and wonderful families that they never see.
Yes. Yeah,
they never get to enjoy them.
They're busy all day and they can't focus on anything but being busy. Yep, you're right.
Yeah, absolutely. So I decided that, I can do more with less. And I figured out how to work and accomplish at least 32 hours worth of work every day and spend time with my family.
Beautiful.
And get some sleep. And people are like, it's impossible to work 30 hours a day. And I'm like, oh, no. It's possible to accomplish 30 hours of work each day. You can't work 30 hours, but you can accomplish 30 hours worth of work. And they're like, no. And I'm like, yeah, and I'll prove it. Well, when I started doing this and I applied this, it was ironic. No matter what job I went into, I was promoted up to management and leadership within 6 months, hands down. Never did I get inside of an organization where I wasn't in leadership, management, or top level within 6 months. And the reason was simple. I didn't work harder than everybody else. I accomplished more.
There you go.
Than everybody else.
Cool.
And I decided that one of the things that I was going to do is I was going to teach people like you, like me, like the people watching today, how to do less and accomplish greater, how to be more effective with their time so that they would have more time available to enjoy the life that they have, how to open up opportunity to draw things to us. Because it's amazing, I always love the idea. If you want to fill a cup, you've got to empty it first.
Yep.
If you want to receive something, you've got to give it away. Yep. You've got to have an empty space. So if you want to be able to enjoy more, have more enjoyment in your life, then you've got to empty some things out of the way.
Yep.
And that's really where I began to focus. And it doesn't matter whether or not you come to me with, your love life, your relationship, your business, your friendship, your car, your hobbies, anything that you're doing that you want to be able to enjoy more fully and accomplish more in, what I teach can help you get there.
There you go. Beautiful.
I don't teach anything revolutionary.
Just sensible.
Yeah, it's nothing new. But my gift what I've been given was the ability to take an 800-page instruction manual and deliver it to you fully understood in 20 pages. Because
key points.
Yep. Bring it down and then explain it in a way that's simple and understandable.
Yep.
And when you can relate to what I'm teaching and see how it's applied, then you'll actually do it. Too much we're stuck on gaining as much knowledge as possible, because they say knowledge is power, but that's not true.
It's applying the knowledge is what the power is.
The proper application of knowledge.
Yeah.
Otherwise, all librarians would be superheroes.
Can't argue with that. So
right.
the next thing that comes to my mind, my friend, because that's an awesome story and that's an awesome foundation, because it gives us power to understand that lessons are key. So, and learning those lessons and applying what you've learned from those lessons is foundationally powerful. Yeah. There's no way around that. So that leads me to this question about what is the biggest lesson that you feel that you've learned, and what did you learn from it?
Honestly, I think one of the biggest, I'm going to have to hit you twofold on that, because there's two main lessons and they're parallel. In weight in my mind. One of the biggest lessons is simply this: you have a choice to do more or to be more effective in life. That's it. You have to make that decision. Am I going to grow, or am I going to stay in a position of decay?
Right.
Because we're always in one or the other. Yep. We're either growing or we're decaying. We're expanding or we're contracting.
Yep.
There's always a balance. There's that polarity at all times in everything.
That's exactly right.
And when I realize that, it means I have the choice at every single moment in my present state to choose whether I'm going to expand or retract.
Yep.
Whether I'm going to push forward or withdraw.
That's right.
Whether I'm going to grow or shrink.
That's right.
So I think that was like one of the pillar things, is that I have the power to do that. And if I have the power to do that, I'm also responsible for my outcome.
Responsibility is key. Yeah.
I am responsible for everything that I experience on a moment-to-moment basis.
Yep.
And if I understand that I'm fully present here right now, and there's something that I don't like, it's up to me to make a change in it.
That's right.
Because when I change something within me, I change my surroundings.
Exactly. Beautiful.
And I think the second thing that is equally as powerful in my understanding that I gained was this. It was actually in sales training. I learned buyers will buy. Buyers will buy.
Yep.
And that simple delineation in sales training translated over into my work of being able to help people. And it's just, those that are wanting to grow will grow.
That's right.
Those that are looking for excuses will never grow.
That's right.
I can't help those who don't actually desire to make that change.
Exactly true.
I can give everybody the tools to build a house. I can show them how to build it. I can give them the materials. I can give them the knowledge, the wisdom, the understanding, and at least 90% of them will die frozen in the winter.
Yep, because they didn't build the house.
They didn't have the drive to do the effort.
Exactly true.
And sometimes if we give it to the wrong person, then I'm not giving it to someone who needs my time.
That's right.
So I have to be very, very willing. The first thing that I do when I connect is like, you know what? You want to get to know me? Read my book. And they're like, what? I'm like, if you want to, no, that's okay. Yeah. If you want to work with me, if you want me to help you, read my book. And you're like, well, I don't have time. And I said, well, you know what? If you don't have time to read it, that's okay. I've also recorded it as an MP3. You can listen to it in an hour and 15 minutes. You can go through the entire book. But if you're not willing to start with the foundational knowledge that I build on, I'm not going to waste my time trying to move you forward if you're not willing to even spend an hour on yourself.
There you go. That's very important, because what I've found as a coach and as a businessman, there's every person that you make connection with, build a business with, take on as a coaching client, they need to have three things. And you've pretty much mentioned that. They need to be willing, they need to be coachable, and they need to be hungry.
Yes.
Right? Because without those three things, you can't help them because they can't help themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
And that hungry is an important one. It's really important.
Yeah.
I knew a gentleman. He knew he needed to change.
Mm-hmm.
He knew that he had to make sales. And he now knew, after working with me,
Yeah.
how he could not only make sales, but he could make quite a few sales within a matter of days. I gave him a medium, a platform, a price point, and a plan. And he had the understanding that he could. And a month later, I said, so how many have you made? He says, nothing. I said, why? He goes, well, I haven't really offered it.
There you go.
You're not hungry.
Not hungry.
You're not hungry. You've got everything you need, right down to the knowledge of knowing that you need to do it. But if you don't have that drive, if you don't have that hunger, that why behind it, it's not going to happen.
Change. Without changing something in you, nothing with you changes.
Yep.
So we're going to talk about resources now, my friend. So what are some of, or one of the greatest resources that have helped you along the way?
Humorously, YouTube.
Powerful, isn't it?
It is. And the reason being this is YouTube suggestions over on the side of the page. It has the wonderful ability to show you things that you never knew existed.
Yep. And
I may be looking for something about personal development, but all of a sudden I see something that says Marcus Aurelius and how he was effective in war. And I'm like, wasn't he a Roman soldier? What's that got to do with personal development? Wow. And all of a sudden now you're reading or you're watching some video on Stoicism and you're like, well, what's that got to do with anything? And then all of a sudden you go like, whoa, wait a minute. And this happened to me. I went from Marcus Aurelius to doing a little research for about a week on Stoicism to coming across about 5 different Stoic principles.
Wow.
That they used. And I was like, I've been implementing those things in my life for almost 20 years.
And here you thought it was irrelevant, right?
Yeah. Those were, well, not even irrelevant, but I never understood that this is a time-tested, proven thing. Exactly. And I naturally came across it.
Yes. But
I never would have understood it had somebody not made a suggestion. So I think one of the most powerful tools is that of actually the ability that we have to reach out and connect with people who've gone before, to sometimes teach us, but also sometimes to validate what we believe we know is right.
Yes. Yeah.
Because even if you think something is right, without someone coming along sometimes and just getting you that nudge and saying, no, dude, you're on the right track.
Exactly.
You might stop because you don't know the result. You don't know the end result.
Nope.
You have an idea, but it's all theory until someone says, no, it's not theory. I've been doing that for 2 decades. And you're like,
it works. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm on the right track. Now I'm going to press into that because I found a little bit of effectiveness and now I'm going to maximize it.
Perfect.
You know, one of the things that I learned was if I can't taste it, touch it, smell it, and it can't touch me, make sound in my ear, or blow in my face, I can't affect change in it, and therefore it's not worth my time or energy at this moment. I can't be somewhere where I'm not.
That's right. Now is the only time.
I can't affect change in an area that I'm not. But what I can do is affect change in where I am, with who I am, and what I put out into the world. And that can make a change.
That's right.
And
now, that leads me to a spot that we both have a great passion for, and that is the law of attraction, my friend. So I live by the law of attraction, and that's what brought us together. We were attracted to each other by that like vibration, by that, what it is that makes you more is exactly what you attract more of. And it also works in a negative way as well. So share with me your approach and your use or how you work with the law of attraction.
Well, I came across it, again, kind of like I did when it came to Stoicism, is I found some things to be working in my life, but I didn't know they were working. I just saw that when I acted a certain way, certain things happened.
Yeah.
When I felt a certain way, things happened. When, I saw connections. I'm really good at seeing connections in life. And with the law of attraction, with many things, when you first jump on a bandwagon, per se, you get half of the information.
Yes.
And you go, well, that's stupid. That doesn't work. I've been wanting that my whole life and nothing ever changed.
Right.
Well, nobody told me that it wasn't just about desiring something. It was about not thinking about not having it.
Exactly. Exactly.
You
It's
know,
what you think.
it's what I think on it. It's how I perceive that thing, how I feel about the situation. I can put together a vision board. I can put it right back up here so that I see it every day. I can read it every morning. I can give myself those affirmations, and then I can go to bed at night and go, well, I don't have that yet. And all of that work for the day is gone.
It's that mere thought, by the mere thought that you don't have it yet.
Because my thoughts control my emotional state, and my emotional state is the physical language in the world. That's the energy that is emitted. I learned that we can actually measure the magnetic field that is changed by our emotional state. And we know that science tells us that like frequency will attract like frequency, but it will repel and distort anything that is not the same. So if I'm feeling lack, but thinking prosperity, I'm going to attract more lack.
Exactly.
And if I'm thinking about my lack, but enjoying the presence of my prosperity, then I'm actually going to enjoy more prosperity, because that's what I'm going to attract. Because we don't draw something to us by ignoring what's there. It's acknowledging where we are, but not living in that presence.
Yeah.
Living present where we are, but enjoying what's coming. And that was something that was really hard for my mind to wrap around. But as I was younger, as we've talked about before, in my faith, in my belief system, is I saw things were being taught, but they weren't being lived out.
There we go.
But there were some principles that seemed to make sense, but they didn't. Although they were being taught, I wasn't actually seeing people apply them. And I went, something Jesus said kind of makes sense with this whole law of attraction thing. Because, when we're stuck in a mindset, a way of thinking, it's really hard to break out of that into something else. But that something else may be the very thing that will transform your life.
And you resist it.
Right. We resist it because it's outside of what's allowed in our pattern thinking. And something he said changed massively. It just like cracked the shell in my mind. And Jesus says, if you ask, believing that you have already received it, then you shall see it. And it's like, why would I ask if I already have it? Right? And if I already have it, why am I going to see it later?
Very well.
That didn't seem to make sense until I understood that there's two different planes. There's our physical plane, and that there's our spiritual. And if we understand that everything physical was created from spirit.
Exactly.
Energy is what creates physical. The physical doesn't create energy.
That's right.
So when we believe fully within ourselves in the spirit about the end result, which has been created because we just created it.
That's right.
We just created it already. It's there.
Yeah.
Then we just wait for that created energy to manifest itself in the physical. And if we understand that, we can believe that it's already ours because it's already been created for us by us. And then once we do that, then we have that manifestation happen in the physical, and then we get to see it.
Exactly.
So it's like, if you believe in your spirit wholeheartedly with everything that you are, emotionally and spiritually, that this work has been done, you've just created that work. And if you understand that, then you can look forward to the physical manifestation happening at whatever point. We don't have to set a limitation, because when we set a limitation, now we're trying to take control of other things outside of us that we can't.
That's right.
And when we focus on the things that we can't, we draw more things that are impossible into our life. We put limits upon ourselves by entering into an arena that we can't control.
And that's our ego. Our ego does that, and it creates a story that we were taught, rather than the spiritual truth that is actually what is the power that manifests. We have to ask, believe, and receive, right? And it's being open to receiving that makes the massive amount of difference. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's a beautiful thing to be in awareness, because we're born with two things. We're born with awareness, and we're born with choice, the power of choice. Those are our two powers. And when we choose outside of awareness, the odds are that we're not going to choose something that we can manifest, because we're not aware of the proper vibration, the proper spiritual truth that gives us that avenue to actually manifest what it is that we're choosing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Right.
So
one of the,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, no, that's all right. If you got another point, brother, let's hear it. I want to hear it.
Oh, I'll always have another point.
Okay, so let's go to another question then. So what I'm going to ask you now is, what has been your greatest inspiration recently? Have you listened to some words of wisdom? Have you read a book? Have you heard something? What's been your biggest inspiration recently?
The biggest inspiration that I can say recently is probably also my oldest inspiration. And that was a statement by Sun Tzu. I first heard it in 7th grade, and I continuously go back and I revisit that thought. And it's so simple. It says, muddy water, let stand, becomes clear. And the reason that has always been not only inspirational, but so powerful in my life is I have a mind that literally goes 8,000 miles an hour.
Right.
I will lay out a business plan in my head and be able to articulate it in a matter of 10, 15 minutes.
Right.
My mind moves very fast. I'm a very quick processor. So with that, there is a lot going on at all times.
Yes.
In my brain.
Yeah.
But when I can't find an answer, I will often struggle to find that answer.
Okay.
And then I remind myself, oh, that's right. Muddy water, muddy water.
Just let it stand.
Stop.
Yeah.
Just stop. Just let everything settle for a minute.
Yep.
And it's 9 times out of 10, I don't have to find an answer. Everything else settled and left the answer, because that's what I place my focus on, is receiving the answer instead of trying to find it in a dust storm.
Exactly.
I allow myself to just let it stand for a minute. Everything else will settle, and what will remain will be what I'm looking for, because I believe that it will be there.
Beautiful.
And I don't have to struggle for it. I don't have to strive for it. That's my old self doing it the way my old mind used to do it. Exactly. I have to work harder. I have to work faster. I have to work, I push.
Right.
And eventually, if I do that, I will come to the answer. Or I could do it now, the effective way, knowing the answer is already there. I just have to let everything else settle.
And the only thing that's left is the answer.
The only thing left is the right answer.
Correct.
And I've gotten in the habit, one of my greatest tools is when I come across something that I need to figure out, or say when I'm working with a client and I don't have that answer right there on the call, I'll tell them, hey, tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock, let's get back on a call. I'll explain it in more depth. And they're like, okay, why tomorrow? I'm like, just trust me. And then at night, I'll go to bed. And the last thing I do before I close my eyes is I just ask myself the question that he needs an answer for.
That's right.
And I'll go to sleep. I don't find the answer. I just go to sleep.
That's right.
Because I already know that answer is in me. So I just wait for my mind to settle. I wait for the conscious to just go away. And I go to sleep. And when I wake up, my mind says, oh, yeah, by the way, that thing you were looking for, I found it. Here it is in an envelope. You can go deliver it.
There you go.
And that's the beauty of being able to just calm yourself. As far as, real fast.
Yeah. One
of the things that has inspired me is Michelangelo, Plato, some of the greatest artistic designers, but not the painters, the carvers of statues. They could take a stone
that was
create some of the most beautiful, soft, flowing out of rock. And somebody asked Michelangelo one time, he says, how do you create such beauty with nothing more than, something with such soft beauty with a hammer and a rock? And he said, I don't create anything. I simply remove everything that was not intended to be there.
That's right. Because the
statue was within the whole time.
That's right. Beautiful.
And I was like, it's not even about becoming more. It's about eliminating the things in myself that were never intended to be there.
That's right.
That's where true growth happens, because you start to really realize who you really are, not the beliefs that someone else told you that you should believe about yourself.
As coaches, that's one of the challenges that I face as well, is I'm always dealing with people that are, I can't, I won't, this happened, that'll get in the way, and all these external beliefs and even internal beliefs that just totally block that end result that they know is there, that they know they need, but they won't allow themselves to let the sand settle. Remove the things that don't need to be there. Make the changes, change those habits, those things that are interfering with the end result. And it's a beautiful thing to be able to bring someone to that place, because it edifies the realization. Not only did you help them get to that place, but you help them get to that place because you help them to that awareness and help them make that choice. And it's in us, it's in all of us to not only to create, but to help others create their greatest self. That is the power of the law of attraction, the power of spirituality. It's the truth within. And so with having said that we always kind of focus on that one thing that makes the difference, that one thing that we want to become, or that one thing that person needs to be better or for themselves at a time in many cases, because there's more than just one thing ultimately, but it does end up in that one thing at the end. So having said that, what's the one thing that you're trying to accomplish in your career?
1%.
1%. Yeah, I hear you. I hear 1%. You. Expand on that, my friend. Expand on that.
I'm a firm believer in the power of the compound effect. If I gain 1% better each day, did you know that I will be 37 times what I was a year ago? 37 times what I was just a year ago.
Yep. And 1% a day. 1% a day.
1% is easy.
Yep.
I mean, if you don't believe 1% is easy, you didn't get out of bed this morning.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
And so I was like my book, I titled it The Book on Being Better.
Yep.
And I got so much flack from all of my friends in marketing because they're like, dude, people don't want better. People want to be the best. They want to be their best self, their best tomorrow, their best everything. And I'm like, it doesn't matter what people want.
That's right.
It's what do people believe is possible.
Exactly.
We all want to be the best, but most people don't believe they can be.
Well, that's because they think that it takes so much to get there, and they can't imagine doing all of that at once.
Right. So my key principle, even within the book, is it's about taking those individual small steps that will help you to be better, because better is believable.
Yep.
Better is attainable.
Yes.
And so if there was one thing that I could teach anybody, it's like, you don't have to be the best. You don't have to be better than anybody else. Just ask yourself, am I a little better than what I was yesterday?
Exactly.
It's not a competition with yesterday. Never measure yourself against anything or anyone in the present or in the future. Only use yesterday as a gauge to see how far you've come.
Exactly.
And even though you may not be doing something better than yesterday, ask yourself, did I learn something from yesterday that I can continue to apply today? Because if you've learned, you become better.
Well, and learned and applied.
Yes. Yeah.
Because that's key.
And that's the key, is even if you've learned, then that gives you something that you can apply today.
Exactly.
And that positions you for that growth factor, because it's either growth or decay.
That's right.
Advance or retreat.
Right.
And so whenever we realize that we have a new tool, then we know we can take that step.
Beautiful.
Oftentimes people won't take the step because they don't know the next one to take. And that's the biggest thing, is like, don't try and be the best of anything. Just be better than you were, and you'll be amazed at the huge steps that will happen over the next 2 months, 6 months, year.
Exactly.
Your growth will be so immense. You'll be like, seriously? That was 1%?
Part of the key for that, I found too, is that a lot of people get down on themselves because they didn't accomplish their full list in a day. And yet they did accomplish many things in that day. Mm-hmm. But they won't give themselves the opportunity to give themselves kudos, to credit what they've done well. Right. And they'll find themselves holding themselves back when they've already advanced. They'll hold themselves back in their mind saying, I didn't do this or I didn't do that. Meanwhile, they did do many things well or properly or even better than well, like super well. We are super beings. We have the ability to create. We have the ability to manifest our own future. And as we go through each day, we are changing things to some extent, or either positively or negatively, either ahead or back, right? So as coaches, we're always trying to make sure that we don't, not only for ourselves, because we have to grow ourselves as well to help others. If we can't do it, we can't help others do it. And at the same point in time, we also have to be able to recognize what we've done well in order to coach other people how to do the same thing.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, absolutely.
And so that leads me to this question here, my friend. As a high performance coach, or as a personal development person, someone that's walked across the country and made many things happen simply by your belief that you can and will, and employing or working with the law of attraction and writing a book about being better, and doing all these things, what is something that you'd like to offer to my audience today? Some call to action, some way for people to reach out to you. I'm going to put your Facebook URL up here, and I'm going to give you a chance to offer your services. Go ahead, my friend.
Okay. Very simply, as I stated earlier, if you would like to be able to move forward with me, if you'd like me to be able to actually just get on a call with you, I suggest you could reach out to me on Facebook. You can reach out to me on the link he put up there about my book earlier, and get the book. Get the book. Read through it. It's short. Listen to it on an MP3 on your way to work. It's an hour and 15 minutes. I guarantee if that's all you do and you apply what's in there,
yep,
your life will not look anywhere near what it does next year at this time. I guarantee that.
Oh, absolutely.
But you can reach me on Facebook. Reach out to me, send me a message. If you go to pick up that book, you're going to find an interesting surprise. If you don't feel that you can afford that book at the price that it's being offered at, catch me on Facebook. I will give it to you for free.
Oh, beautiful.
Dean asked me to come on here and share with you guys. I want to add value to your life. And the only way that I can add value is to teach you how to apply what I have.
Beautiful.
And
beautiful.
If you're willing to do that and you're willing to take those steps, then I want you to be able to do that. Nothing should ever be a cost. If you don't see it as an investment, I don't want you to spend $1 on it.
There you go. There you go.
Because you need to invest in yourself. And if you don't believe that you're worth the investment of your time without money, then reach out directly on Facebook and we will have a conversation in which I can help you realize your true value.
Beautiful.
Because that's your first start point.
And the whole point is, what you're saying is, take that first step.
Take the step.
Yep.
I will eliminate every barrier that you have if you're willing to take that step.
Beautiful thing, my friend.
You got to make that step.
That's right. And that's what we all teach. That's what we all propose. And that's what we all want to see happen. And we've got a gentleman, I'm not sure what his name is. He says, hello, and you are from America. And,
yep, and looks like he is from Hindi somewhere.
Yeah, could be. So we can go back. You'll be able to share this link to your network later on, and you can pursue these people and engage with them at your leisure afterwards. And we're coming up to our time limit, my friend. So we're about to say goodbye to Facebook land. And really, really appreciate your time today, my friend. It was very powerful to hear you speak. Very, very powerful to see how you're willing to offer so much just to have a person grow and to have them be better 1% a day. Yeah. And get that change going and get that habit of changing going, and just, you can be the best. It just won't be today. It'll be down the road. And like you said, one day at a time.
You are the absolute best possible version of yourself right now.
There you go. There you go.
At all times.
Perfect.
And you just have the opportunity to get better. Thank you so much. It's been an honor.